Hello, St. Augustine's Fano. Just thought I'd put together this video to just talk about where we're at as a parish and where I see us going over the next wee while. And first of all, I just want to say I'm really fed up of talking to a screen. I really wish I was standing at the front in our beautiful building, being led by worship by one of our amazing music teams, and being able to see your beautiful faces while I speak and enjoying your company over one of our wonderful morning teas afterwards. I'm really longing, and I'm sure you are, for the day that we can all be back together in our buildings. However, under lockdown level 2, we can start to see one another face to face. And this weekend just gone, the first of our house churches started to meet, and this weekend coming, I know there's a few more. We're all still getting organised, we're all getting there. But we will all get there, and the hope is we can all be part of house churches and enjoy one another's company like that. And my hope is that we'll actually be in house churches for quite a while. And I think there's two reasons why we should be in house churches for quite a while. The first one is it's the safest thing to do. It is the safest thing to do. It's the way that we can keep one another safe and keep our community, our neighbourhood safe. I would really, really hate to have to be that church that was the cause of another cluster because we all wanted to meet together, and that outweighed our ability to keep people safe. So I don't want to rush to have us all meet together if it doesn't mean that we're not going to be safe. And by keeping one another safe and keeping our neighbourhood safe, that's how we show that we love one another. We love our neighbourhood. And that comes to the second reason that I think it's going to be good for us to be in house churches for a little while. And that's because it's a great way to learn how to love. You know, last year I just harped on and on and on about, why bother? What are we doing here? Where are we going? And the why bother was because makes a difference. The what are we doing here? What are we doing at church? Why do we do this whole church thing? That's to learn to love like Jesus loves. And therefore, where are we going? Deeper, loving relationship. In the midst of our pandemic, that doesn't change. Learning to love one another because it makes a difference is all the more important. And being in house churches is one way, as a very good way, that we can actually deepen our relationships with one another. In those small groups, we actually get more time to spend one-on-one, get to know one another, get to know what makes each other's tick, gets to know what our passions are, get to hear the amazing things that God's done in our lives, and we can encourage one another and hopefully all the more keenly hear God's voice to us as we spend time together as His people. So I just really, really want to encourage you to enjoy your time as house churches and to make the most of it and to make the most of getting to know one another. And lastly, I just want to say this is a really, really good opportunity to really deepen your discipleship journey. I've already just kind of said that. But I want you as house churches to ask yourself 2 questions this Sunday. And it might be that I might have more questions, but I might actually ask you to keep thinking about these questions over the next few weeks. And the first question is, what have you learnt? What have you learnt during this time, lockdown in your house? What have you learnt? What have you learnt about yourself? What have you learnt about God? What have you learnt about life? The second question, I'll run down here, is what do you want to take forward in your life, in our church together, in our life as a church together, out of this lockdown experience? What do you not want to lose from this experience? So what have you learnt? And what do you want to hold on to? What do you not want to lose as we move forward as a church? So I hope that brings a bit of clarity about our future, a little bit more, as much clarity as we can have at a time like this. And I really look forward to when we can all be back together in church, in our building as a church. And I just encourage you to enjoy this time together and make the most of being in these smaller groups as house churches. Every blessing. Bye.